Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 4th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see our storm system currently going right into the south of Haida Gwaii there, bringing a powerful cold front with it, off and on heavy precipitation for some areas, moderate rainfall for a lot of the rest of the areas as well. We've got some wind advisories, got some high wind warnings out there, we got some gusty winds already ongoing, some blustery conditions will continue on in through today, and we're going to have a thunderstorm threat even across some of the Pacific Northwest here. As you can see, this colder air is going to be moving in over the region as we go through the day today. Then we've got another storm system coming as we go on towards the early portion of the week. And then we'll take a look at the extended models because the GFS and the European are having some disagreement here with what's to come after, but they both show it kind of remaining active as we go through the month of November here. So we'll dive into those details as we go through the video here this morning. Take a look at some of the winds already. Look at that storm system off the coastline. Some big winds there for some of Vancouver Island. And again, we are gusting over 50 miles per hour for some places, the Oregon, Washington coast, and up towards Whidbey Island, I believe, was 54 miles per hour already this morning. That should be continuing on for the next few hours, and some blustery conditions will be coming for the Puget Sound. Also, some wind advisories are up. Taking a look at this, you can kind of see where this wind gusts are occurring here, up towards the Oregon, Washington coast, getting into the 40s here, 52 miles per hour. Taking a look a little bit further north, you can see that 54 mile per hour gust for Whidbey Island there, some upper 40s along some of the Washington coast there as well. Looks like Hoquiam checking in at 45. So this should be picking up here shortly across some of the Seattle metro also. And I'll show you some of those wind speeds here in a moment. But looking at Spokane, National Weather Service issued yesterday, and you can kind of see that rain shadowing effect going on a bit here. And then it kind of relaxes as you get back towards the higher terrain of some of southeastern Washington, northeastern Oregon, the Idaho Panhandle. And there is a small chance of thunderstorms tomorrow, or actually today. I'm speaking as if it was last night, but no, this is for today. The small chance of thunderstorms is for Saturday afternoon there. Now, taking a look at the Tempest Weather Station, I've been talking about this for a while now. It's a nice, affordable station. It's got a lightning detection system on it. It's a great smartphone app, ultrasonic anemometer, no batteries. Highly recommend this station. Click on that link down below if you want to get 10% off. Now, looking at the NAM 3KM, this is a 10-meter wind gust. And you can see some of those bigger gusts, the northwest interior here in the Washington, Oregon coastline. We put this into motion. You can kind of see these picking up across some of the Puget Sound. Nothing too crazy, but still, the National Weather Service mentioned that trees are in a weakened state because of lack of precipitation over the last few months or so. So we could get some more tree damage, some nuisance power outages. But you can see some of the bigger gusts across some of Whidbey Island, the San Juans up here, and maybe the coastal regions of Skagit, Whatcom County there, and maybe the Strait of Georgia, of course, the Washington coastline. And further northwest, you get towards the storm also across some of Vancouver Island, some big gusts coming in with that as well. You see some of the higher terrain, maybe the Naches out there, Mount Rainier and whatnot, getting some gusts up over 45 miles per hour with this storm. Now, taking a wider look at things here, this is North America, and you can see European is on the left, the GFS is on the right. This is last night's run 0Z. And pretty good short term in the pretty good model agreement in the short term. And as we put this into motion, there goes our initial system as we speak. And as you can see, we've got another one. Both the European and the GFS agree on the timing of that system here. And we start to roll in towards next week. You can see the ridge that the European's been showing here. Looks like the European kind of won that round. But a ridge building here as we go through the mid portion of next week. So we're going to get a couple day break before another system tries to get in here. And you can see the GFS starts to diverge from what the European is saying with a much stronger trough dropping down across California here, and then building some ridging over the Pacific Northwest. The Gulf of Alaska trough still going, but you can see the European much more progressive with the next system as we go on in towards next week, and pretty chilly upper level low dropping down in the European, and some ridging here on the GFS. So big stark differences there. We need to work those out over the next few days. Taking a look at the precipitation, 6 hour, you can see the big low pressure at about 980, 979 millibar low there. There's Haida Gwaii, Vancouver Island. And you got Washington, Oregon here. The Hawaiian Islands are way to the bottom left. You can see the nice fetch of moisture that was associated with this system. Put that into motion, and you can see pretty good agreement, of course. And the next system rolls in here. A nice rainy day as we go through what starts about sometime on the afternoon Sunday for some of the interior areas. Sunday evening, and we get some rain all the way through Monday, probably not wrapping up until some point of the day on Tuesday. You see the GFS hangs some of this precipitation all the way through the nighttime hours of Tuesday here. Then we get that bit of a break here before this next system. It's not that strong. The next one after that coming in on Thursday. maybe night by the time we get to Friday morning, weak system moving through the area. But then the GFS starts to diverge, like I said, from the European, and you can see the storms continue on the European versus the ridging here on the GFS. But we're looking a little bit far out there, so we'll kind of try to work out those differences as we go. This is the NAM3KM, composite reflectivity. This is what the Doppler radar may look like, and the NAM is the North American model, and that's the resolution of the model. 06Z would be 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so that's when this model was run. Put it into motion, you can see the precipitation has been ongoing, and now we're getting into when I'm doing the briefing here about 5 a.m. or so, and you can see some of the showery activity here. Can't rule out a lightning strike with some of the showery activity as these move through on into the day today, and you can kind of see some additional convergence zone activity across some of the northern Puget Sound here as well. Could get a couple lightning strikes out of that. Can't rule out a clap of thunder here east of the Cascades as well with some of that activity. And then we'll scroll on in, and you can see the next systems start to arrive here as we go on in through Sunday night into Monday morning. You can see the spin in the atmosphere there showing up nicely on the NAM3KM. Looking at the day one thunderstorm outlet, you can kind of see they have that outlined here for portions east and all of western Washington, Oregon, all the way down through Northern California. This would include portions of British Columbia also. Now, this is the current hazards. There's a wind advisories across the Puget Sound here that you can see the high wind. I believe these are warnings right now along the Washington, Oregon coastline there, and you can see some additional wind advisories across southern Oregon there also. And we even have a bit of dense fog advisory going on here across southeast Oregon in through portions of Boise there, and there's still flash flood watches going on here, some burn scar areas across southwest Oregon. Now, looking at the story, you can kind of see when these winds are going to be dying down. As we go through the morning hours here, the blustery conditions will kind of be wrapping up by the time you get to the early afternoon hours. I mean, it'll be blustery through the evening as well, but nothing like what you're getting out there this morning. Some gusts probably mid-40s, maybe upper 40s for Astoria currently. This is Portland. You can see those gusty conditions, mid and upper 30s there as we go through the early afternoon hours coming in here. Not a major windstorm, but it'll get your attention if you're out and about. Seattle Metro, you can see the gusty winds continuing on in through the late morning here, maybe on into the afternoon on the NAM3KM. Some gusts up towards the upper 30s here. So not normally what would spawn wind advisory conditions, but again, the National Weather Service talking about lots of leaves on the trees and perhaps some being in a weakened state, and that's the reason for the advisory. Hoquiam, Washington, mid-40s showing up here and kind of winding down as we go through tonight. Whidbey Island, and as you can see, they got a 54 mile per hour gust, and the NAM was just showing the 46 mile per hour range, so underdoing things a little bit up there. This is looking a little bit further out here on last night's European run, or yesterday afternoons, I should say. And looking off into the future, we still have those systems rolling through that we saw on the European, kind of some bigger wind solutions showing up in there. But of course, nothing agreed upon, purely fantasy at this point. And you can see this morning's wind here, and then the Monday system rolling in here. Now, looking at wave height, as we go through the day today, you can see the waves kind of picking up along the Vancouver Island, Washington, Oregon coast as we go through the afternoon. And then we get a little bit of a break here. Then the additional swell comes rolling in here. Actually, it's a significant wave height and direction. But you can see that additional wave action rolling through. Then we get a break here as we go through next week and kind of see the wave heights calm down a bit. Then the storm track starts to point back at the Pacific Northwest, according to the European. Off in Fantasyland, there's some nice wave action. Would make for some nice wave watching along the coastline. Take a look at total precipitation in inches on yesterday afternoon's European run, and like we saw, it keeps the storm track pointed at the Pacific Northwest, except for a small break, and you can kind of see these additional systems rolling on and through the extended. Some big amounts showing up here across a lot of the Pacific Northwest. Classic rain shadowing, of course, across the higher terrain, and you can see it to the northeast of the Olympics showing up there a bit. But look at some of the amounts across the coastal range. So Oregon, Washington, Vancouver Island, Western BC, some big amounts here. And it's pretty typical of November, but we don't always get it here. So yeah, it is our rainy season, but it's nice to see this around the area. We've been dealing with some drought conditions, as you guys know if you've been watching the channel for some time. This is looking at the NAM3KM total precipitation in inches. So this is a short-term high-resolution model, continuing on with some precipitation as we go through the day today. Then we get some showery activity, and look at that rain shadowing effect out there towards Sequim, and that's why they get that big rain rain shadow effect out there, and you can get some sunshine while the Olympics, or at least some broken sunshine, and the Olympics are just getting completely doused by precipitation on the windward side of the higher terrain there. So interesting look at the rain shadowing effect there. And for eastern Washington, some of eastern Oregon, you can see that ongoing also. And then you'll see that next system start to roll in there at the end of the run, but still not bringing much precipitation to the northeast of the Olympics, but dousing the coastal ranges. Look at some of the places up in Vancouver Island also. You're probably getting 8+ inches of precip. Cascades getting a nice couple rounds of precipitation through Monday also. This is snow depth in inches, and let me update this because I believe this is running as we speak. It's still not bringing it. Still hasn't updated the new model right here, but we'll run through this one anyway. And now this is snow depth, so you can kind of see the melting that takes place during this time. And this Monday's system rolls in here. We might get a few inches across the Cascades of Washington and Oregon. Then you can kind of see that melt off a little bit, and then watch as additional systems start to roll in towards the mid portion of November, though. We start to build up a little bit of a base out there, so that would be nice to see. And we'll continue to monitor this over the next few days as we saw the huge differences between the GFS and the European. Accumulated positive snow depth here. This is actually this last night's run here, so let's go ahead and look at what this is showing. This model is running as we speak here, so I don't have much data to show you, so we'll skip that for now. So looking at 8 to 14 day temperature probability outlook, you can see slightly above average, or at least slight chances for above average conditions. I should word that correctly here across the Pacific Northwest, and still showing some of that above average precipitation in the meantime there. This is that risk of high winds. Still, that potential for one of these systems to become stronger and trend in the models still exists, but we just don't see it right now. Everything is off in fantasy land still, and this is the risk-heavy precipitation, similar timeline all the way through November 15th along the west coast. Landslides, we'll take a look at this again tomorrow and then again on Tuesday because we're getting additional rounds of precipitation today, and that next system, as it rolls in on the day Monday and through Tuesday, will, of course, provide additional amounts. So we'll see how this trends over the next couple of days. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to get up this morning early and kind of give you guys the update on what's going on here. Got some things going on, but I may go out there and try to catch some interesting showers rolling by today. Maybe we'll catch a lightning strike out there or whatnot, capture some gusty winds and get some scenes out there. And who knows? It's always just kind of fun to do some weather watching here across the Pacific Northwest. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. We'll just keep watching these storms rolling in. It'll be interesting to see who is going to be right with that extended run here. The big trough on the GFS or the big trough dropping down across the Gulf of Alaska shortly thereafter on the European. So we'll watch that over the next few days. Hope you guys are having a good morning. We'll do this again by the latest tomorrow morning, and I will talk to you guys then.